Imagine losing your job for doing something kind. That's exactly what happened to Amanda Walsh when she offered a free haircut to a homeless man sitting outside the salon where she worked. Her boss was furious, calling it a disgrace to the salon's image and firing her on the spot. But here's where things get interesting. Just 24 hours later, something happened that would completely change her boss's life forever. And trust me, you're not going to believe the twist in this story. Let me show you how karma works in mysterious ways. The morning of December 15th started just like any other at Elite Cuts Salon. Amanda Walsh arrived early, as she always did, checking her appointment book and preparing for another busy day. After 3 years at the salon, she had built up a loyal clientele who appreciated not just her skill with scissors, but her warm personality and genuine care for others. But this wasn't going to be just another day at Elite Cuts. As Amanda was setting up her station, something caught her eye through the front window. A man was sitting on the bench outside, hunched against the bitter December wind. He wasn't wearing nearly enough layers for the freezing temperature, and his beard and hair were long and unkempt. Every few minutes, Amanda found herself glancing back at him. There was something about his posture, the way he held himself despite his circumstances, that seemed different. When her lunch break came around, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to do something. Making a quick decision, she grabbed her coat and stepped outside. "Amanda, sir, would you like to come in and warm up for a bit?" The man looked up, revealing eyes that were clear and alert despite his disheveled appearance. He introduced himself as John, and after some gentle persuasion from Amanda, agreed to come inside. But here's where things get interesting. Because what Amanda did next would set off a chain of events that no one could have predicted. "How about a haircut?" she offered. "No charge. I have time during my lunch break." Now you might be wondering, was this really such a dramatic decision? After all, it was just a simple haircut, but sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can trigger the biggest consequences. As Amanda worked, John gradually opened up. His voice was soft but carried the weight of experience. He mentioned serving in the military, though he didn't go into details. He talked about struggling to adjust after coming home, about how quickly things can spiral when life throws too many curveballs at once. But there was something else about John, something Amanda couldn't quite put her finger on. The way he spoke, his careful choice of words, the gleam of intelligence in his eyes. Was there more to this homeless man than met the eye? She was just finishing up when the salon's front door burst open. Marcus Bennett, the owner of Elite Cuts, had returned early from his lunch break. And what happened next would change everyone's lives forever. Marcus's face turned an alarming shade of red as he took in the scene before him. "What the hell is going on here? This is a high-end establishment. What were you thinking, bringing in someone from the street?" Amanda tried to explain, but Marcus wasn't interested in explanations. His tirade grew louder and more heated, drawing the attention of other stylists and clients. John sat perfectly still in the chair, his face a mask of dignity despite the humiliation being heaped upon him. "You're fired. Pack your things and get out. And take your charity case with you." The salon fell silent. Amanda stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes. John quietly stood up, gave her a small nod of thanks, and walked out with his head held high. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. Because within the next 24 hours, something was about to happen that would make Marcus Bennett deeply regret his decision. The next morning dawned brutally cold. An overnight freeze had turned the city into an ice rink, with black ice coating sidewalks and parking lots like invisible glass. Marcus arrived at the salon early, irritated about having to deal with the backlog of calls from Amanda's canceled appointments. He was so focused on checking messages on his phone as he got out of his car that he didn't notice the treacherous sheet of ice beneath his feet. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Marcus's feet went out from under him. His phone went flying as he fell backward, and his head struck the concrete with a sickening crack. Blood began pooling around him almost immediately. The street was deserted, or so it seemed. But sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. A figure emerged from a nearby doorway, moving with surprising speed and purpose. It was John, the same homeless man Marcus had humiliated and thrown out of his salon just the day before. But what happened next would reveal that John wasn't exactly who everyone thought he was. With movements that spoke of years of training, John quickly assessed Marcus's condition. His hands moved with practiced precision as he stabilized Marcus's neck and examined the wound. Pulling a clean bandana from his pocket, he applied pressure to slow the bleeding while keeping Marcus conscious and still. When the paramedics arrived, they were impressed by how professionally the situation had been handled. And that's when the truth finally came out. John wasn't just any homeless veteran. He was Sergeant John Reeves, a decorated combat medic who had served 3 tours in Afghanistan. The same man who had received a Silver Star for saving his entire unit under heavy fire was now the one who had potentially saved Marcus Bennett's life. At the hospital, doctors confirmed what the paramedics had suspected. John's quick action and professional care had prevented what could have been a critical or even fatal injury. Without his intervention, Marcus might have suffered permanent damage or worse. The local news caught wind of the story, and suddenly Marcus found himself facing some uncomfortable questions. How did he feel about firing an employee for helping a decorated war hero? What did he think about being saved by the same man he had treated with such contempt? The experience changed Marcus Bennett profoundly. Nearly losing his life only to be saved by someone he had treated so cruelly forced him to confront some hard truths about himself and the person he had become. What happened next wasn't just about making amends. It was about transformation. Marcus not only rehired Amanda with a promotion but worked with her to establish a monthly free grooming program for veterans at Elite Cuts. John became their first regular client, and his story helped bring many other struggling veterans to the salon for support. Sometimes karma doesn't just strike back, it teaches us the lessons we need to learn. And in this case, it took a near-death experience and an act of forgiveness to remind someone of their humanity.